Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll be diving into a crucial concept in computer architecture: memory cache mapping techniques. This topic explains how our computers efficiently manage data to achieve high performance. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a cache? Simply put, a cache is a smaller, faster memory that stores copies of data from a larger, slower memory, like your computer's main RAM. Its primary purpose is to bridge the significant speed gap between the incredibly fast CPU or central processing unit and a relatively slower main memory. By doing so, it drastically reduces the average time it takes for the CPU to access data. So how does it work? When the CPU needs data, it first checks the cache. If the data is there, we call that a cache hit, and the data is retrieved almost instantly. If the data isn't in the cache, it's a cache miss, and the CPU then has to go to a slower main memory to fetch it, bringing a copy back to the cache for future use. Caches work so effectively because they leverage something called locality of reference. This principle has two parts: temporal locality, meaning data accessed recently is likely to be accessed again soon, and spatial locality, meaning data located near recently accessed data is likely to be accessed soon. Now that we understand what a cache is, the next logical question is, how does the system know where to put data in the cache, and how does it find it later? This is where cache mapping comes into play. Main memory is typically much larger than the cache. Data isn't moved one byte at a time. Instead, it's transferred in fixed size chunks called blocks or lines. The challenge is twofold. First, when the smaller cache, can a specific block from a large main memory be stored? And second, how can the CPU efficiently locate the block in the cache given its main memory address? To solve this, a main memory address is typically decomposed into distinct fields: a tag, an index or set, and a block of set. These fields are crucial for the various mapping techniques we will discuss. Our first technique is direct mapping. This is the simplest approach, characterized by its fixed placement rule. The core concept here is that each main memory block has one specific predetermined line in the cache where it can reside. Think of it like a dedicated parking spot. The rule for this placement is straightforward. The cache line number is determined by taking the main memory block address and applying a modulo operation with the total number of cache lines. So if you have 8 cache lines, main memory block 0 goes to line 0, block 1 goes to line 1, block 8 also goes to line 0, and so on. Looking at the address structure, a main memory address is split into a tag, an index, which directly points to the cache line, and a block offset. The advantages are clear. It's very simple to implement in hardware, offers fast lookup because there's only one place to check, and has a lower hardware cost. My analogy for this is a hotel where each guest has one specific room they can stay in. If two important guests are assigned the same room, they will be in a constant battle, kicking each other out. And if there are plenty of other empty rooms in the hotel. Moving to the other end of the spectrum, we have fully associative mapping. This technique offers the most flexibility but at a higher cost. The core concept is that any block of main memory can be placed in an available line within the cache. There are no fixed location, it's completely flexible. Because of this flexibility, the address structure is simpler in terms of fields. It only has a tag, which is essentially the entire main memory block address, and a block offset. There's no index field because a block can go anywhere. So how does it work? When the CPU requests data, The cache controller has to simultaneously compare the tag of the requested address with the tags of all cache lines. If a match is found, boom, it's a hit. The major advantage here is the highest hit rate. It minimizes conflict misses because a block can always find an empty spot if one exists, making the most efficient use of the cache space. However, the disadvantages are significant. It demands high complexity and cost due to the specialized hardware often called content address memory or CAM required for all those parallel comparisons. These parallel comparisons can also make lookups slower and consume much more power, especially for larger caches. Furthermore, when the cache is full, it requires a replacement policy like least recently used or LRU to decide which block to evict when a new one needs to be brought in. Finally, we have set associative mapping, which is often considered the best of both worlds, as it combines features from both direct mapped and fully associative approaches. This concept is that the cache is divided into a number of sets. A main memory block maps to a specific set, but once assigned to that set, it can be placed in any available line within that set. The placement rule is similar to direct mapping, but instead of mapping to a line, it maps to a set. The set number is determined by the main memory block address modulo the set number of sets. The address structure for a set associative mapping includes a tag, a set index, which points to the specific set and a block of sets. When the CPU requests data, the set field directs the cache controller to the correct set. Then within the specific set, the tag is compared in parallel with the tags of all the lines in that set. The key advantage are that it offers a good balance between complexity, cost and high hit rate. It significantly reduces conflict misses compared to direct mapping without incurring the full complexity and cost of a full associative cache. Disadvantages are that it's still more complex than direct mapping and it's fully associative caches. It still requires a placement policy to ensure which block to evict within each set when it becomes full.
To summarize and provide a quick overview, here's a comparison table highlighting the key features of each mapping technique. You can see in how direct map is low in complexity and fast for lookup, but suffers from high trashing. Fully associative offers the highest hit rate and low trashing, but at the cost of higher complexity and slower hookup. And still associative sits in the middle, providing a good balance across all these factors, making a very popular choice in modern systems. Notice how the need for a replacement policy change based on the flexibility of placement. In conclusion, understanding cached memory technique is fundamental to appreciating how cached efficiently store and retrieve data, which in turn significantly impacts overall CPU performance. Each technique involves crucial trade-offs between performance and the complexity of its design and implementation and the associated hardware cost. The design choice of which mapping technique to use is a critical decision in computer architecture, directly influencing the speed and efficiency of the entire system. And as a final point, it is worth noting that most modern CPUs today primarily utilize set associative caches. This is because they offer the optimal balance of high performance and cost effectiveness for real life applications. Thank you for your attention. I hope this presentation has provided a clear understanding of memory cache mapping techniques. Now I'll be happy to hear any questions you might have, or we can open it up for a brief discussion. Thank you.